It's the Sunny Symphony Podcast. It's the Sunny Symphony Podcast. Talking sure is great when it's with a good debate. Oh, Sunny Symphony Podcast.
Hello. We are here. Pie, did you think that we'd get here? I didn't think we'd get here so quickly.
Honestly, I was kind of hoping we would. No, but it's
Oh, for the same.
it's an honor to be sitting here with you and being able to have honest conversations. Not that we don't already on the daily, but I feel like, yeah, I'm excited and ready for this and nervous.
I know. Same. We had many conversations leading up to here, and I just laughed because we were so ready and we were so prepared. We just kind of took the reins and went with it. And then the next thing you know, we get to this day and we're just like, oh, what just happened? So, I'm super excited. So I just want to be able to at least introduce myself. I'm Sassy.
And I'm SunPy.
And we just want to welcome you to the Sunny Symphony Podcast.
Hooray!
So just to kind of, let you know a little bit about myself. I am from Texas. I've been born and raised here. I've been married to my Tinder success story. We're going on 4 years this May. So I'm pretty excited. We have 2 fur babies. So by day, I work for a media company and we put together events. We help people get set up to host events that we put on. By night, I am a Twitch streamer. So that's been a really fun thing. One of the things I do love to do is I love to sing and I love to fish. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay. Hi, SunPy here. I'm from California, so we're still in the same, I almost said same state. We're still in the same area, in the US of A, but just a little bit away. I'm an artist. My main job is creating art and selling it on the internet. People listening at home can't see, but viewers right now can see this beautiful flag behind me. But I make art like this, and I am also a musician. I like singing. It's very fun. And same as Sassy, Twitch streamer, but I'm not, it's not nighttime. I usually stream in the middle of the day. Some things I enjoy. I love hanging out with my partner. We met on TikTok, a little bit different than Tinder. But we have a cat named Salem. She is a absolute sassy gem. And besides, hanging out with my partner and my cat, I love playing video games. I love reading. But, great segue into our topic today. Episode 1 topic, what we love.
Yay!
Sassy, did you want to go first?
I'm excited about this. Yeah, it was funny because when we were having this conversation, the thing that I loved was we knew what we were going to talk about first. And I was so happy that we were going to have, we knew that we were going to have honest conversations that may have been a little bit tougher, but to have our first conversation be about things that we love, it really made me excited because you kind of get to see the passion behind things that we like to do. And, obviously with us both being Twitch streamers, you kind of get us, you get a small piece of us. So kind of getting to learn a little bit about things that we love. I was super stoked about this. So, one of the things that I love to do, which I know we talked about this right now, is music. So for me, I've loved music my whole life. So I remember I was laughing about this the other day because I realized how long I had been on Instagram. And my original Instagram bio was, "My life has its own soundtrack. And
Oh
I
my
realized
gosh.
that I associate so many things with music. Like
Yeah.
I'll associate places, I associate, people with songs and emotions and things like that. And so that for me was something that I was like, oh my gosh, I really love this. And to kind of know a little bit about what I love with music. So funny story about me. When I was in nursing school and when I was doing nursing, I had a pretty good gig, like as far as like working during the week. So I had weekends off. So I had a side gig as a wedding singer. And it
Mhm.
gave me a chance. Yeah, it was so funny. It gave me a chance to be able to, learn all different types of genres of music. It helped me be able to kind of, get to see. I'm not a fan of weddings. I hate to break the hearts of you out there. But I'm not a fan of weddings. That's why I got married in Vegas. Uh,
Ay.
but yeah, but there's something about being able to kind of set the tone for people when they're doing their first dance, when you're hyping up the crowd, before they have that bouquet toss and things like that. And, you know, again, it made me realize how much I associate, great memories with music. So that for me is something that I really love. And I know that with you, I know that music is something that you love as well.
Yes, I I feel like as a kid, music was a way of expressing myself. Like it was a way of getting out all of those emotions, those teen emotions.
Were you the angsty teen?
Yes, I was. I was so angsty. If you knew me as a teen, I'm so sorry. I was so angry. But it's just like one of those things that sticks with you. And it's like, okay, we associate music. I say we as like a general collective human thing.
Oh yeah, sure.
Um, but we associate music with like places and times, like nostalgia feelings. Like people are like, oh, this is the song that me and my significant other danced to. It was our first dance when we got married, or like,
Oh, 1,000%, yeah.
or this song was playing when I had my first kiss or something, just to keep it PG.
Yeah, that's
But
what I did.
I was just throwing that out there because I know how you be. um,
Hey, now we know what kind of Twitch channel I run.
I immaculate vibes always. But music is just like one of those constants. Like I might lose people in my life, but I'll always have music.
Yeah.
And I mean, you sing, and like you were saying, how well, I didn't know this about the wedding singer thing. That's very interesting.
Yeah. I don't normally share that with a lot of people. Um, but it is something that I loved so much.
So I have a question
So,
for you then.
yes.
Would you consider singing as a part of your career or a hobby?
Um, See, that's a hard question because like for me, I mean, I've done singing on so many different levels, So like
Yeah.
I did it as a gig then for a time, with like church, I'd lead worship. So like that wasn't exactly like a paid gig, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, um, like for me again, because for those of you who don't know, I love Jesus and true crime. So like that for me was like, that was like my form of worship. And so I mean, I wasn't getting paid for that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think for me, I don't know, like this is how I feel, but I've always associated like hobbies as things that like you love to do. I've been lucky that I love my job, obviously, but I feel like hobbies are things that you put your heart into, things that you choose to
Mhm.
do. So when it comes to singing, I like to associate it more as a hobby rather than as a job,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
No, that it makes complete sense because it's like you're not getting that dollar for it. It's just something you do that you love because you love to do it.
Yeah. So I mean that's for me that's how I consider music.
Yeah.
I mean, what about you? Cuz I know with you you have I don't know if you've made that big announcement with everyone, but you might as well do it now because I'm excited about it.
Oh, so I mean, okay. So for me, yes, being a little bit on the other end of the spectrum, I would say I would love music to be a career for me.
Sure.
I Similar to you, I'm no longer Christian, however, but I did lead worship. Well, not lead, but I was on it at least. Well, I don't know. Anyways, so it's like being able to go up on stage has always been such a natural thing to me.
Yeah.
And it makes me really happy being up there. But the announcement that Sassy mentioned, I am going to be producing a full EP. It's going to have 6 whole songs on it.
I am so excited.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for being excited. I'm nervous. We are going to have a single coming out soon. It has not been recorded, but a whole EP on actual Spotify. Yeah, that's happening.
SunPy is coming to a Spotify near you.
Ooh, not just the podcast.
Not just a podcast. It's a pie takeover.
Everyone, take undercover.
As we said, it's a Spotify.
Oh, but
I'm super stoked though. I think it's gonna be so awesome.
thank you. I'm nervous.
For sure. I mean, I think we talked about this right before we started this, remember? Is like, I feel like, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with not being nervous, but I think that when you do have some sense of being nervous, it's because it means so much to you, like you're wanting to do right by it. You're wanting to just give 1,000%, and you've put so much heart and work into it that, like, some people go into things confidently. And again, there's nothing wrong with confidence, but I think that when you go in with just all the confidence in the world, you're like, I got this. Like, it's no big deal.
Right.
I think sometimes you kind of lose the heart in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just how I feel. So I totally can't even imagine how nervous you are.
Well, okay, so I was even on the same lines of thinking, you just communicate things so much better and articulate, like,
Oh, thank you.
you said what I was thinking, but because you said it before, and we were talking, like you said, we were talking about it today. I care so much about my music, and it's been so important to me. I've been writing songs since I was probably like 4, like, so it's kind of like an official, it feels exhilarating.
Which, by the way, for all of you listening, if y'all listened from the beginning, y'all have to really appreciate this. Like, mad props to Pi, because they wrote the jingle to our podcast and they recorded it. I mean, I did background vocals.
Amazing background vocals.
Like, I was shook because I'll never forget the conversation. They were like, oh, I'm going to come up with a jingle. I thought it'd be like 2 days later. It wasn't even an hour later. I get a recording on my phone entitled Jingle. And I'm like, what? Already? And it's what we used. We did no other takes. It was what we used. And I was blown away, because just when I thought you could not be more amazing, you just do it. And I was like, wow. But I have no doubt that not only this EP is going to be great, but I feel like it's going to be such a big start to so many great things for your music career. So y'all heard them here first. Just so y'all know.
Remember where you found me. Remember where we started.
I love that so much. So yeah, I want to know about something else that you like, because when we talked about this, I was actually laughing because one of the things you like is what I'm having right now. So
I was even going to mention that. I was like, great segue. You have it in your hand. Can you share with us what you're drinking?
my wonderful Ben Monster mug, just so y'all know. I was pretty excited about this.
It's amazing.
I am an avid tea drinker. I feel like I'm a fancy tea drinker. But lately I've been living off a throat coat, which is amazing. Throat coat, sponsor me, please. Sponsor our podcast. I think we're gonna need it.
Oh yeah, no, for real. I love that brand too.
But I've grown to really love tea. And so I remember when we were talking about things that we loved, when you mentioned that tea was something you really loved, I was like, we're like kindred spirits.
We are though.
Okay, so I have to know, what is your favorite tea? I know that's hard, but I just want to know.
I can't believe you've done this to me. Okay, I did kind of ask first, but maybe I did. I don't remember what I asked a question.
You asked what tea I was drinking.
That's right. Okay,
so I answered my question.
Okay, you're right. Oh shit, I gotta actually think about. Okay, well, first off the bat, I want to say like a nice mint medley with some honey.
Oh, honey is a must. I've now discovered that I can't have tea without honey.
Dang. Oh, okay. I'm kind of the same though. Like I was like, no, I just drink the leaf water. That is it. No sugar. I was like, I want it bitter. I take the honey now.
Well, I used to just not be a fan of honey.
Oh.
I know it's so weird, but
Mint.
I was not a big fan of honey. And then one night I was struggling so hard to sleep. And I'll never forget, I was at the grocery store and it was like 10:30 at night and my mom calls and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm walking through the store because I just need to sleep." And my mom says, "Why don't you try sleepy time tea with honey?" I'm like, "No, I don't want honey. Leave me alone, woman," you know? And I tried it because I was desperate at this point. I was like, I'll take anything. And ever since then, I can't have tea without honey. So it's
Sleepy time works miracles though. Like my mom used to give me sleepy time.
Oh yeah, it's amazing what sleepy time. There's something in sleepy time tea that really just it has its magic.
For real. Am I allowed to read what some of chat says that their teas that they like are?
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see.
Someone says,
looking.
"Oh, Earl Grey tea. Yes, I love a good Earl Grey, but if I have Earl Grey, it has to be bitter. I can't have honey in it."
I will have to agree with one of our viewers. The passion fruit herbal tea, I'm a huge fan of.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, only because it's our significant others, I will ever call them out. But I do think that it's very sweet that your partner makes you mint tea almost every night. It's like, oh, I was like, oh, that's just so sweet. That's goals right there.
Okay, I will say, when I was manifesting my partner, because I will say I believe I manifested this situation.
Same.
One of the things I said that I was like, "Hey, this is what I need, is somebody to make me tea." And he kind of just offers to, unless I'm having a beer, because sometimes I'll have a beer at night, second beer of the day.
I will say, witnessing that last night was the sweetest thing, because I got to witness that when you and I were talking.
Yeah.
And I could hear him in the background. "Do you want me to make you some tea now?" And I was like, oh.
It's so sweet.
And I just thought it was the sweetest thing. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I just love you.
I know. He's the sweetest. I'm so lucky.
Oh yeah. No, we both are. I think I'm very thankful at the fact that our significant others get along so well. Like we couldn't have asked for a better dynamic, but not only between me and you, but even between them, I think is just great.
The bromance is gonna be so real. It's
The bromance is already real when you and I are on the phone and they're screaming in the background, "I love you!" And I'm like, okay.
oh no. Good, feel called out. I hope they both feel called out. We love
my
them.
poor hubby, he's like so stuck in his bubble right now. I feel so bad. I'm like, he was like, "Oh, I'm gone for the night." I was like, okay.
Oh.
So I can call him out this whole first episode and we're good. After that, I'm gonna have to behave.
Oh, I do want to say, somebody said boba tea, a viewer. Yes,
Oh,
boba tea.
I love boba tea.
Boba tea. Oh, this is the first time. Hey, if you're watching this on YouTube later, you'll be able to see this. Everybody else won't, besides our Twitch viewers. A dab for the boba tea.
Wait, I'm not gonna dab. I'm liable to knock my microphone off. We're gonna just mini dab.
Oh. That's hilarious.
So yeah, I remember when you were talking about tea, I thought it was just so funny that you were just like, "Oh, this is something that makes me happy," and I was like, it's so great to just kind of see that the little things are what make us happy.
Yes.
You know, even down to those things, you know, because like I talked to you and I told you about one of the things that I loved was reading. And then that's when we went from tea to reading. And then we were talking about how like, okay, I know it's going to seem cliche, but like my ideal happy place is reading anywhere. Like I mentioned this on my Twitch stream the other night about how a lot of people were talking about how they're beach bod ready and whatever. And I'm like, yo, I will be reading on the side of a beach. Like, that's what I do. But how you and I were talking about, like, one of my favorite things to do was, you know, I love taking like a hot bath and reading. And I know a lot of times, like, people have different things they like to do, whether it's listening to music or having a drink or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, and then, and I was like, I like to read. I know that that's nerdy of me, but I love reading, you know?
It's not nerdy. It's not nerdy.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. But, you know, one of the things that I remember we were talking about, and I wanted to share this, was like, I love reading a physical book. And I remember I was telling you about how I love reading, you know, physical copies of books. Not that there's anything wrong with Kindles, because I own one.
Right.
But I love reading a physical book. But more than anything, there's something about that brand new book smell. It's like, oh. So okay. Most,
yes.
You know, when you were a kid, you know how Disney princesses wanted like the big castle with, you know, all the cheesy shit, you know? It's like
bougie.
Super bougie. I wanted to be Belle with that damn library. I was like, I want all of that.
Okay, if I'm being honest, that's my goal, is to have a house big enough that my partner and I are just going to slowly collect books over our lifetime and fill a whole library with it. So I'm with you on that.
Right? I'm like, I love that, you know? And then the thing is, so for me, I also like to read a book, and if I'm done, I'll pass it on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, I'll keep books, but I also like to give them. Like, I'll give them to my friends or things like that, you know, whatever. And and so with that, I think that that's something for me that I really appreciate about a book. Because once you get a book, let's say it's been passed, you know, on to like 5 different people.
Yeah.
By the time you get it, you know, sometimes people will have, you know, just written notes in their books, or they'll have even, okay, I know that this is a pet peeve of some people, where pages are folded over or they've been like bent. But I love that because I know that somebody stopped right there, you know, or somebody was marking that for a reason. And so that for me just means so, like, I love it. It makes me so happy to even have a thing like that, you know?
I didn't even think about that. Like, that
Yeah.
sounds amazing. Because then it's like, this page was significant enough for somebody to stop and say, let me dog ear this book. Like, let me make sure that I can remember to come back here and look at this. But then that also tells you, like, this was important to somebody else, which I never thought of that before.
Oh yeah, no, that's why for me it's a big thing, because I know that when I get a book, like I had a book that I bought at a bookstore probably like 2 years ago. And I'll never forget that the book was so old, but it was the only copy there. And I'm like, do I want this? Do I not? But because I'm a fan of older books, I'm just like, okay, let's see how long this is gonna last me. And I opened the book, and whoever owned it before me had so many side notes written in of things that they observed about the character in the book.
Wow.
Or, you know, it was so great. And so I was like, I kind of want to do this too, you know?
Yeah.
And I got it from Half Price. I got it from Half Price Books because I'm a huge Half Price Books person. And I'll never forget, I did the same thing, and then I sold it back to the store, the same store, because it was right by my house. Because I knew that the next person who could get it would be able to have those same, you know, be able to have that same experience that I did. So I was like,
yeah.
You know, hopefully they enjoyed it as much as I did when I got the book.
Well, I think if you put something with intention to it, and like people can, everybody has different religions and whatever, but like that book will get to where it needs to go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely believe that if you did that and either added your own notes or whatever, that whoever finds it next is going to be so grateful that it's there, you know?
For sure. Okay, so any guilty pleasures that make you happy?
Okay, when we first started talking about this, you laughed at mine, but
Oh no, I'm ready for you to share this because I was like, this is so great.
Okay. Disclaimer, I just really hate the pandemic and want to be somewhere else all the time. And it's been this way since I was a kid. But my guilty pleasure is watching travel YouTubers. So YouTubers that are either their whole channel is dedicated to like where they're living, like if they're living in China or Korea, or people that just traveled there. Like I like to learn about other places and feel like I'm experiencing it a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think that for me was so cool. Like I thought I laughed because I remember telling you, I was like, it's so great, you know, because you are able to just have that same experience without necessarily leaving your home. I mean,
right.
Granted, it's not the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But it is so great to be able to kind of have that. I remember because you were talking about, you know, how we were in the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you got to see it, but do you remember I don't know if you got it or not. I know we did, and you know, we got to see it, but Google for a while was sharing like different museums or aquariums around the country that had cameras in their exhibits at all times. So you could actually go to the aquarium without really ever leaving your home. And I was like,
I missed that.
I found myself doing that so much. I was like, oh, let's go see how the penguins are.
That's so cute, though.
Fish, the shark. I know. So I laughed when you told me that because I'm like, okay, I don't feel so nerdy anymore. I just thought it was so great, you know. But hey, I will give you that because I told you my guilty pleasure and we both laughed about it.
I'm ready.
Which, yeah, so my guilty pleasure is fishing. And we were laughing hysterically about this, but let me just tell y'all a little bit about why it's my guilty pleasure. I started fishing when I was 5 or 6, and I used to go with my brother to go fishing. And
Oh.
yeah, so my brother's 13 years older than I am. So he was like 18, 19 when, when he would go fishing, and he was working. So I was at school. And my brother would be like, can I take Veronica fishing? And my parents would tell my brother, well, you better call into the school because we're not going to call in to excuse her absence. So my brother would pretend to be my dad and call into the school so that I could miss school and go fishing. Student of the year, y'all.
My heart. That's so sweet, though.
And it was so funny because we've been doing this my whole life,
Yeah.
And I'd go fishing, with my other brothers. My dad would sometimes go fishing when he was still alive, and we all would do that. Like the guys would. My sister's not a fan of fishing. Neither is my mom or my sister-in-laws. So I was always the only girl, but I always felt, it was with my brothers. I felt okay with that,
Yeah.
I was like, they're not gonna let me drown. We're good. But I've had some of the best conversations with my brother when we've fished. Like sometimes even just the silence and being able to just kind of enjoy where we're at, and just being able to take it all in and just taking that peacefulness as you're waiting for the fish to bite, and then that excitement that comes when you're like, yes, I got one,
Yeah.
But that for me is something that some of my best memories have come out of fishing. So I remember one of my absolute favorite memories is I was about 25, 26. And we went fishing, and it was an overnight fishing trip.
What?
Yeah. And we went to a local lake because it was only like maybe 10-15 minutes for all of us.
Okay.
So we drove, we all met there. My sister-in-laws stayed kind of at the pier, and they were reading magazines. They took blankets and were talking and, just hanging out while the rest of us kept walking to this place where I was convinced that they were finally, like, they were going to off me because I was my mom's favorite, but it's okay. But we went walking for what felt like forever because there were so many fish biting because nobody would fish over there. And so we get over there, there aren't any lights. So you only have like the small little lantern that we had. So the stars were out. It looked so nice. But being able to just cut up with my brothers and just fish was probably the most favorite memory I've ever had of hanging out with my brothers.
Aww.
So, I mean, yeah. So I've had a lot of fun with that,
You were like explaining it, and I was like, can I just sit back and close my eyes and just picture this for a moment? Like,
it was so great. Like, I do that a lot. Like, I'll close my eyes and I just go back to like there's times when I go back to happy memories that I hold on to. And just because, sometimes, you have ugliness, in the world, or you're dealing with something hard, and you want to kind of be able to hold on to those happy things, to kind of get you through. And that's one of them for me. Like, I hold on to that so much. So yeah, that's a big thing for me.
I mean, I like fishing, but I've been fishing once, and it was with my uncle. I was younger, but like, the only fishing I've done recently is on Stardew, and
how's that been going for you?
Yeah, it goes well, I've been
kind of like my fishing on Animal Crossing.
Well, I'm getting used to it. The fish have patterns, whereas on Animal Crossing, like, they have patterns, but it's also like, okay, but are you gonna bite it? Are you gonna follow the pattern? Nope. Okay. Crap.
I hate fishing on that game. Like, I'm just waiting to catch something like big and worthwhile, and I'm like, it's gonna be a shark this time. It's gonna be something, and I'm like, Why?
I do want to say we're probably going to end up having a whole episode dedicated to Animal Crossing because we are avid fans, and I like to yell at Nintendo.
And I also blame Pi for my obsession. 1,000%.
Guilty.
Just so y'all know, they told me verbatim, oh, you should get the game. It'll be fun. They neglected to mention that I would get obsessed with this game. And I'm like, really? And I have yet to look at how many hours I've played of that game because I'm too scared to know.
I've been an avid Animal Crossing fan since my brother introduced it to me on the GameCube. So I can call myself an OG fan. Which is
yeah.
It makes sense. It's like a zombie bite. I've turned you, and you now are, praising Nook and being forever in debt to a raccoon.
I do laugh that one of our viewers asked what my turnip prices are. I refuse, absolutely refuse to partake in that level of Animal Crossing. It will not happen.
Do you want to explain why that is, that it won't happen, though?
No. Because then I don't want to get judged for what I do.
No, but if anybody you better not be gatekeeping. If you're up in here gatekeeping Animal Crossing, you're gonna have to talk to me, buddy.
Okay. The reason why I do not buy turnips is because a dear friend of mine, who shall remain nameless, but is in our chat right now as we speak, told me about a concept called time traveling. And once I discovered time traveling, I never went back. But I also discovered that when you time travel, your turnips rot. So that is why I refuse to partake in turnip buying, because I know what's going to happen to my turnips.
I will say, because I stopped playing Animal Crossing for a while. Before I stopped playing and took a hiatus, me and my partner and my partner's mom would all meet up on Sundays and buy turnips and then watch turnip prices throughout the week, and whoever had the highest price, we would do it. It was fun, but it was very stressful because if you don't...
Oh, yeah.
Because, you said you checked your prices a couple times. They could either be way below...
Oh! I was shocked. One day was, it was, the turnip price is 41 they're 41 bells, and I'm like, really? Really? And then the next day, it's like, we'll give you 172 bells per turnip. I'm like, no, they died. Why?
Turnips are stressful, but they're fun.
They are, but I've seen people they've invested. And I'm like, it's like investing your life savings.
No, for real. Well, that's kind of a good segue to the kind of extra thing that we both talked about.
Yes.
Because, along with video games, we were talking about how streaming was something that we both really love, even though it has its, anxieties and stressors. It's something that we both really enjoy doing.
Oh, for sure. I was telling Pi this on Tuesday, actually, when I was done streaming, because I took a break. For those of y'all, who know me, I'd been streaming for a while. I was dealing a lot with a lot of life, and work things, and right now with us trying to move, it was so much. And so I remember I was like, I have to give up something, and then we talked about this project, and I'm like, nope, I am trying to give 100% right now to this. And I knew that, this was the best decision for me. And Tuesday, you and I were talking, and I was just like, well, I'm going to wait till you're ready to talk. So, hey, let's just stream.
Yeah.
And I laughed because you and I talked about this afterwards, and I was telling you about how much I missed it, like it does give me a little bit of anxiety because I found myself putting, and it was funny, you and I kind of talked, and I didn't realize this until, like last night or today, really. But I think that I found myself putting so much anxiety on myself because of the fact that, and I think that that's kind of why I'm glad we're doing this podcast, because I've noticed a lot of streamers deal with mental health issues and they don't talk about it nearly enough,
Yeah.
And and I've realized that with Twitch, it's a great platform. It's an amazing platform.
It is.
But a lot of times everyone's coming, everyone's on a different journey. Everyone's in a different, walk of life, and they're on a different path. And I think we get caught in the I like to call it the beast of comparison, where
totally
you think like, oh, well, that person has like 45 viewers and I only have 10, or I have this many and, this many subs, and I saw this person got gifted like 5,000 subs. Although if someone got gifted 5,000 subs, I'd probably scream and pass out for them, but
no, for real.
Yeah. And so for me, the biggest thing was, I've seen so many people struggle with that. For me, I'm a person who's like a perfectionist. So I feel like even when I give 1,000%, it's not enough. So I would find myself going, okay, that was great, but I could have done this differently, or I could have done this better, or I could have, and if something came up, because right now, like I'm working late with my job. And so if I knew I'd miss a stream, I felt horrible about it because I felt like I failed that expectation, So that's why I knew I needed to take a break until work would slow down a little bit for me, until, we would find a place where we were going to, we got that taken care of. And I think that for me just made it a whole lot easier. But it was a lot of self-awareness. And I think a lot of people don't do that because they're so focused on looking at everyone else's journey that they don't necessarily focus on their own. So I think that when you get to a point where it's too late, that's where you find yourself really struggling with those things like depression. You find yourself struggling with the anxiety of trying to meet this unrealistic expectation that you put on yourself because you were looking at everyone else instead of realizing how great you were doing, So, I mean, for me, when I started streaming, and I think that that's one thing, I love it. I love to stream.
Me too.
But Twitch, please don't ban me, But like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to make, I want to make partner. I want to do this. I want to do that. My goal was never to reach that point, like I give so many mad props to people who are full-time streamers, because that grind is real. Like when you're not streaming, you're on social media. When you're not on social media, you're trying to edit videos. When you're not trying to edit videos, you're trying to be in other people's streams because you want to be supportive to your community. And I'm like, dude, like I thought my job never ended. Yours does not,
Yeah.
And so for me, it wasn't so hard walking away, going, okay, I've got to take this break. But when I walked away, like not being around the community, like right now with my job being busy, I haven't even been able to be in a lot of my friends' streams, or I'm popping in and then I've got to disappear because I've got like a work call or a meeting, and I'm like, why? I miss the people.
Yeah.
And so, I think that that's one thing I've realized is, for me, one thing that I love streaming, but more than anything, I love the community. I love, my friends and being able to support their journey. Because
Yeah.
even if I'm not continuing mine right now, I want to be able to be there when I watch my friends succeed or watch them when they meet their goals, you know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I feel like, and especially with Twitch, we get in, or streamers, I want to say, like Twitch, we get in this mindset of we have to be superhuman. We have to be able to stream. We have to give it our all. We have to be able to go and network and hang out in other people's chats and be friends and hang out with the community and be on social media. And there's so many social medias to keep up with now. It's like we put this superhuman expectation on ourselves or their selves, whoever. I think you're still muted, by the way.
Oh, for sure. Sorry.
It's okay. I was
I was just saying, oh, for sure. He's like, yeah.
But it's like we're just human, you know, things happen, like we forget to unmute ourselves, and that, but on stream it's like that stuff stresses us out. And I think some people,
oh, for sure,
like people have tech issues, and it's like, okay, well, how do I continue stream if I have a tech issue? And it's like the mentality you switch to, it's like going into survival mode, like just trying to figure out how to, I mean, it depends on if it's like your first rodeo, you're probably going to be more nervous than if it's happened before. But there's just so much that goes into streaming. But what you're saying about the community, yes, I absolutely adore all of our friends and how supportive everybody is, and they're all doing such amazing things, and it's like I want to be in all of your streams, like like I do. And like I don't want to name names because like I don't, because there's, you know,
I know we're trying so hard not to name names because we had this disclaimer about referring to y'all as viewers, but y'all know who you are.
And we love you.
Yeah, we want y'all to know, like, I'm looking here right now telling y'all we love you guys, like, genuinely. And for us, that's been one of the biggest things for me that has been the best thing about Twitch, is making these friends that have taught me a whole new level and a whole new definition of what it means to be a friend. And you guys have proven that even if I can't physically see you or hug you or be able to, you know, be right there, you know, with you or being a drive away or whatever, y'all are still people that I will go to bat for any day. And I know and I feel the same, that those feelings are reciprocated from you guys. And that for me, just, it's, I'm like, it really does, like, it fills my heart.
A viewer said, 100% streaming helped me when I was digging out of my greatest depression ever. And it's like, I couldn't agree more. Because, like, I mean, everybody has their own journey and people stream for different reasons. But I think it's like sometimes trolls can happen. But for the most part, when I hop into stream almost every single day, I feel so gosh darn special. Because I'm hanging out with my friends. Like, that's what I consider streaming. And it just feels so special and alleviating.
And I think that that's something for me, because I actually never even thought to tackle my anxiety or to even talk about it. Because I love my family, but we didn't have that. We didn't have those conversations because there's a huge stigma about mental health in my family, you know, and with my friends, you know, I have friends who struggle with that. And I've always been that friend to just be like, hey, what do you need? How can I be your cheerleader? How can I take care of it? You know? And so me talking about my feelings was just so hard, or talking about my struggles. And it wasn't until I met all of you guys on Twitch that I was able to openly talk about that and just be able to say, hey, I need a break. Hey, this is what I'm struggling with. And just to see the fact that there's people who will check in on me and just ask, hey, how are you? Hey, how are things going? Hey, I just want you to know, like, I'm thinking about you. Or just know that you're loved. Like, I don't talk about how I feel or how I'm struggling that day, but some days have been so hard where I feel like I couldn't, like, getting out of bed was an accomplishment. And to get those messages have been just life-changing for me, you know, or being able to see someone stream and just see the joy that they bring to their community and seeing how welcoming they are.
Yeah.
That's been something that for me has honestly changed my life, you know?
Yeah. I will let you know we are at the 5-minute mark of like talking.
We are. I'm excited. You guys, we have hit the end of our podcast and I'm so stoked about this. Pie, we survived.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for hanging out with you guys. Sassy, I love you so much. Thank you for talking to me about some important things and some silly things, but most of all, thank you for just talking to me and being my friend.
I feel the same way. Like, I love you so much. And as I've said before, and I will say it 1,000 times, like, I couldn't have had a better partner in crime to go on this journey with. And I am so excited to see where this goes. To all of y'all who have stuck around, I'm so excited. And I appreciate we appreciate your support and the fact that y'all have been here. We love y'all more than you know.
Yes.
So I'm super stoked.
Well, thank you so much for watching episode 1 of the Sunny Symphony podcast. We have a Twitter, and it is also Sunny Symphony. Is it Sunny Symphony Podcast, Sassy?
It's Sunny_Symphony because you can't fit podcast.
Oh, dang.
I was so sad about that.
Well, if you want to follow us on Twitter to maybe be a part of the podcast in a different way, we will be doing some kind of live Q&A of sorts on Twitter on Tuesdays. I say of sorts, but if you want to follow us on Twitter just to, be preemptive there, we have a link in the chat. And if you're listening at home, maybe we'll have a link wherever you're listening. Also, I do want to say this is where our thank you will be to the sponsor eventually for the Sunny Symphony podcast. Sponsors, hook us up.
We're manifesting.
No, get that coin, baby.
But really, you guys, thank y'all so much. One, thank you to our mods for, just taking care of our chat. You guys are the real MVPs. I mean, we couldn't really watch, but we were watching. We appreciate y'all so much. To our chat, we love you guys. We thank y'all for just supporting us up until before now. Being here, it means a lot to us. And to Pi, I love you. I'm so excited for this and I cannot wait.
I love you too. Oh, okay. This is the end. Thank you so much. Dun, 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 dun. This is where I sing a silly song. This is where we pretend nothing's going very wrong.
Going wrong.
Thank you guys so much for watching. You're all amazing. We love you.
Thank you. We love you.
Bye.
I do.
It's the Sunny Symphony Podcast. It's the Sunny Symphony Podcast. Talking sure's great when it's with a good mate. Oh, Sunny Symphony Podcast.